Don't start what you can't finish.
Let Him Go, a drama mystery thriller directed and written by Thomas Bezucha. I'm not really too familiar with this director or really any of his previous work, but from my research, he seems to end up directing pretty much everything he writes, which I guess is really good for the end result if it means that we end up with a well-crafted film. But then there's this film, Let Him Go, which follows a retired sheriff and his wife who loses their son to a horseback riding accident and now attempt to rescue their grandson from the clutches of a dangerous family. It really felt like this film started off really slow. So after maybe the first 30 to 35 minutes of the film leading into the second act, I felt like the film started to turn into a completely different movie in a good way. But coming back to that slow start, initially it feels like it starts off so slow that by the time we hit the second act and we hit this shift within the story, it feels very abrupt and rushed. This was actually a trend for me personally throughout the film that caught my attention often. I'm not sure the best way to phrase it, but a lot of sequences felt forcefully compiled. Like a particular event wasn't fully fleshed out before the characters decided to progress throughout moments in the film. It just felt, I don't know, it just felt like something happened and we just moved on from it. Like we didn't have enough time to really completely sink in within the moment. There were some moments where it wasn't like that, but there were a lot of moments that I noticed that felt that way. Now, I'm still a little off with my explanation, but something in those moments felt absent. It could have possibly been lacking clear character motives or intent, but yeah, can't quite put my finger on it. I did like that the overall general motives of the main characters were pretty clear though. I actually felt like they got that part right. I mean, you could really tell that the husband George, played by Kevin Costner, and the wife Margaret, played by Diane Lane's character, really cared about the well-being of their grandson. I mean, they played some badass grandparents throughout this film. Diane Lane's character, Margaret, seems like she really wants to make up for lost time with her late son, which she didn't have the chance to with her grandson. And now possibly being put in a situation where that's being taken away from her, you can see that her character is just really left with nothing, and it leaves her very vulnerable. She's unable to redeem herself, basically. And then George, the husband, just seems like his true feelings regarding the situation are hidden throughout the film until the end. Like, you know he loves his grandson, but we constantly see him processing the correct course of action to take throughout the film, whether it's with his wife, whether it's with retrieving their grandson. You see him constantly processing those moments because mainly what's happening is out of his control. And we eventually get to see how he deals with this later on in the film. Now, although there were a lot of strong moments throughout this film, there was also a lot of bullshit too. Now, let's get into that. Now, there was a lot of BS in my opinion to where the film ended up falling victim to some frequent movie shortcomings. For example, there's a couple moments in the film where the protagonist could have ended everything. Literally, the movie would have ended. Like, if this one thing would have happened 20 to 30 minutes earlier in the film, we would have had the credits. But instead we get the bullshit so the final climactic scene is able to exist. And my thing is that if the characters have to make stupid mistakes for the sake of the film's runtime, then you might need to go back to the drawing board. I mean, let's be honest, the storyline shouldn't have to suffer because there's a lack of innovative writing here. So I'm giving Let Him Go a 6.5 out of 10. I was just beginning to enjoy this film's direction up until the third act. Then at that point, the film just started to feel a bit rushed and the characters started to make dumb decisions. But there you have it for my review of Let Him Go. I was actually lucky enough to get an early screening for this film, although it does release tomorrow, or maybe there were some locations that had an early release today. And don't get me wrong, I do think there is going to be an audience of people who are actually really going to enjoy this movie. I think it might get mixed reviews, but I do feel like there's going to be a variety of people who are actually going to really like this film. But for me, it was just okay, you know. And don't forget to leave your comments down below of your thoughts if you were able to see Let Him Go. Also, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe.